Hey, Sarah, can you hear me okay?
End of the
Uh,
contract, big bold letters.
yes, I can hear you, Bob. Can you hear me?
I sure can. I
Okay,
sure
super.
can.
I was trying to mute one thing and hop on another.
Hey, can you see my screen okay, Sarah?
Oh, yes, yes, I certainly can.
Okay, so
Uh,
does the screen say buy my crack?
uh,
I'm just joking around. It's not supposed to say that.
you're so correct. You were not supposed to say that. Oh, Bob, I hope everybody on this line know you. What about new guests, first timers?
Yeah, actually, I don't want to scare people off, right?
Oh boy, you're too funny. Yes, I can see your screen quite well.
Okay. Hey, speaking of the devil, I just saw George hop on.
Okay, awesome. Hello there, George. Okay.
Sarah, when I transfer screen control to you, I'm going to keep an eye on the people popping in and keep admitting them as they come in.
Okay.
Uh, you know, I can see Zoom requiring you to admit people in, but it's kind of a headache, you know.
It certainly is now.
So
Um,
anyway,
I know I forget a presentation. What? It might have been the gun owners, the one I did about
I
two
I
weeks
told you
ago.
the one I told you the 1 million cups meeting is was it sometime last year? It got Zoom bombed
I
and all this
remember.
porn started showing up, on the Zoom. And the funny thing is that the the lady, the guest speaker, she was streaming it to her
Mm.
church. So,
Oh my gosh.
so Andrew, the head organizer, shut that down pretty quick. So
Mm.
let
Yeah,
I
it's
just let it run. Had some fun with it.
oh
So
Bob. Well, it is aggravating because I mean I'm not that attentive a lot of time when you start presenting and there's someone waiting to join.
yeah,
So it's
that's what.
kind
Yeah,
of sad.
I'll keep an eye on the Q&As for you also. Okay, but
Well, if you can, because I'm pivoting here as well.
I okay. Thanks, Sarah. Appreciate you
Oh,
coming on.
oh
But
no, my pleasure, my pleasure.
okay, it looks like it's top of the hour. So Sarah, if it's okay, we can get started. Okay. Well, let me admit a couple
Well,
people here.
yeah, go ahead. You know, I don't need but a few minutes.
All right. Okay. Anyway, this is the Legal Shield pre-event before our actual Midlands REIA meeting. So for those who have come on, thank you very much. And I think you're in for a treat. This is pretty important stuff, and I'll show you why. Uh, One thing I've noticed is when the pandemic first kicked in, um, I saw several articles where I guess people are starting to sue each other. Employees are suing employees, and vice versa. So legal protection, especially nowadays, is really increasingly important. Anyway, for example, we have a Facebook group. It's we call it the Money Mastermind group on Facebook, and I'll more and more often now see legal questions there, and obviously no one there, as far as I know, maybe Rich Boland, if he's in that group, okay, is really qualified to answer any of these questions. That it's basically practicing law without a license. For example, this person here had two separate plots of land owned by individual people with a mobile home owned by one of them, but it was across both pieces of land. And the person was asking, you can see here, does the person whose land it is on, but not the owner of the mobile home, does he have the right to evict that mobile home, so to speak? I just refer to Legal Shield. I don't know. I hope nobody replied to that. This is another one here. Someone needs a probate attorney. Well, I'll let you explain the Legal Shield benefits of that. Legal Shield can handle that. This is also in our Facebook group. Okay, here's one here that really touched nerve with me. This person here is trying to help people who got gouged by a roofing contractor. And it looks like the roofing contractor is going to start a mechanics lien foreclosure on them. Now, I actually went through something almost identical with this. And it was actually a house, not a mobile home. The house actually was foreclosed on by the roofing contractor. And now this is really rare. Legal Shield gave me the tools I needed to actually overturn the actual foreclosure. That is rare. I mean, to overturn a foreclosure is serious. But in fact, I see Scott Davis just is hopping on. Scott knows the attorney who was involved. Okay. And the person, I'm not going to mention his name, who asked this question, I hope you're on this because I'm going to give you the answer. Okay. It's called a Rule 60 relief from judgment. At least in my case, it was. These people here, based on what you told me by phone earlier, that might apply to them as well. I can't promise you that because I'm not an attorney, but in my situation, the Rule 60, the relief from judgment, was able to overturn the foreclosure. Okay. And again, I'm not an attorney. Take that for what it's worth. That was a Legal Shield thing, by the way. This one here, one of our members texted me last Friday. Sarah, you know this. Okay. He was in a car accident and he owns several businesses, and he was in a car accident where I guess there were 3 people in the car, and he admitted fault. He admitted fault, and he was asking for a good attorney because stupid cat. Anyway, yeah. Sorry, the cat jumped on something. But anyway, he was in a car accident involving 3 people in the other car, and he had admitted fault. So apparently the opposing, the plaintiffs now hired, Hawk Law. It's one of those ambulance chasing lawyers. Okay. So he's now asking, what attorney do I use? So the first thing I did was I put him on with Sarah, who was able to give the Legal Shield benefits and whatnot. And I would like to keep up to date with that. So if you're on this call, please keep us updated. But anyway, now that being said, I'd like to introduce you to, if you don't know her already, is Sarah Mitchell. She's our Legal Shield Regional Director. Okay. Sarah's formerly trained in business administration and was also a manager at Bell South. Sarah signed on with Legal Shield back in '98 and is now full-time with it. Sarah regularly trains using Legal Shield attorneys and ID theft protection services, specifically suited for especially small businesses like ours. Okay. Sarah, if it's okay, let me transfer screen control to you. Sarah's going to show you how you can get affordable legal and identity theft protection with Legal Shield services. And let me see if I can switch this over to you, Sarah.
Okay, sounds great.
Now, I always have a problem with this. One of these days, I'm going to get it right. Oh, wait, Kristen's coming in. Mark is. Okay, sorry about this, Sarah.
No, it's okay.
Okay, I'm going to put you as a co-host.
Okay.
If you can, share your screen.
And if you can confirm for me. Oh, gee, I got so many here. Are you able to see that?
I can. Is everyone okay? Can everyone see Sarah's screen?
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you, someone. Thanks.
Okay. Shocklin is saying yes. Thank you, Shocklin. Appreciate that.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm pivoting to here too, new to Zoom. A few others may be joining me there, but 2020 was fascinating. Well, I'm looking at the time so I can be respectful. And again, I would just like to say great evening to everyone. Hey, we may have some people on a different time zone, so it could be afternoon, but either way, it's my pleasure and honor to be with you this afternoon. Can you hear me okay, Bob? I mean, as far as my volume?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, super, super. It's my pleasure to visit with you this afternoon, and I look so forward to every second Tuesday, second Monday, because again, your group is like a lot of other groups I'm affiliated with, I get an opportunity to educate. And Bob here, the relationship that we've had has just been phenomenal, from inception, with him learning about the services and saying, oh my God, I can use that. I can use that. And more importantly, for those of you who know Bob, and I trust that's everyone on the line, Bob has a heart of gold. I mean, it's always about helping, helping, helping. When I hear some of what he does, 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning, it's like, my God, I don't know if I could do all that going out helping individuals, but that's Bob. So he too saw how this possibly could help his organization. And after our partnership, I became even more excited because I'm always seeking opportunities to educate. Legal Shield, many times individuals, some of you on the line may say, oh, I'm familiar with Legal Shield. I've heard the name. However, what I'm finding and what we are finding more and more in the marketplace is that the name, yes, is out there. It's just like the Wendy's commercial, Carrabba's, whatever, but people don't maybe know all of the services, all of the products, all of the pieces, or the true benefit there. So we're always looking at how can we provide more in-depth information so that individuals can make an informed decision and not just say, oh, I heard the name, but not know what we do. So my short window here tonight is an overview. I encourage you to go to Midlands REIA .wearelegalshield.com. You can see how comprehensive the services are and how you can protect your business, protect your personal as well as employees if you happen to have individuals. So I'll go through this very fast. It's a few minutes. Here in the next 10 minutes or so. Bob and I, we've done luncheons together, we've done breakfast sessions together and all. And the truth is, it's almost a year now. It's like, oh my God, just think COVID. I mean, it's been with us almost a year. But prior to COVID, I'm just going to reflect there, first part of 2020, when we would host a luncheon. I mean, we've been at the flight deck, at my office, various places. We love reaching out to the business community. And of course, those business owners come, and what did we hear? Many of them were experiencing debt collection issues. There's, the need for contract review, document review. We always would ask, tell us what are the top 5 or 6 things that concern you about your business, growing that business, protecting that business. And inevitably, once we compile the list, we would have so much duplication. So we found that for those of you who can see the screen and those who cannot, I'll just highlight the top 10 issues that we found, and even our corporate office, Legal Shield Ada, Oklahoma, after collecting data nationwide, is that the top 10 concerns for business owners: debt collection, contract review, document review, contract and supplier disputes, internet security breaches, employee theft, tax audits, those things, other threats of consumer lawsuits. We all out here to do great, do good. And even with that, others can, for no reason, next thing you know, they initiate a lawsuit against us. So that's how it was prior to COVID. Now, what took a shift, it's like, okay, here come COVID. I won't go into all of that, but it brought about a new set of concerns, even as it relates to debt collection. It's not like, okay, he or she owe me money, let me just go ahead and have an attorney review that. Do a demand letter or whatever. The question now is, should I send a collection letter? Or, should I report that debt to a credit repository? It's a contract. Can I be responsible for breach of contract? There are so many of us, like small business owners, where many may have entered into a contract right before COVID, but because of that down spiral there, things shift, things change. Are you able to get out of that contract under the circumstances? Well, I'll share with you, COVID has brought about a new set of governances there and a new set of legislations. And what does all that mean? We don't know what all that means, most of us, because we're focusing on the day-to-day, the business at hand. So here, just imagine being able to have those questions answered, being able to not spend time taken away from your core, and yet I have a legitimate answer. As Bob cited a few examples earlier this afternoon, even down to your personal. That's where we are. And people say, "Oh, I think maybe I know all about COVID." No, they're a new set now. Believe it or not, even with the vaccinations. What if someone, because of their religious belief or beliefs there or whatever, they say, "Well, no, I don't care to get vaccinated at the moment." What are your rights there as an employee? What are your rights as an employer? So we know the vast majority of Bob's organization falls under entrepreneurs. Uh, Entrepreneurs are some of the most hardworking individuals in the world, in my opinion. You work so hard, yet it doesn't take but one I not dotted and T not crossed for us to lose everything that we fought for. So that's why we're so excited. Even going to what Bob's website, Midlands REIA, that is, we have a COVID, we can provide you a link to a COVID resource center. We know for a fact that 60% of small business owners reported having a legal issue in the past 2 years. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I don't have the current 2021 statistics. It's higher than that. By the end of 2020, it was higher than that. So this is old data already because of how COVID is shifting. I mean, right now there's another wave of, people talking about the EIDL and the SBA and the SBA debt relief and the PPP and all that. But I know of individuals who have received money and they don't even know how to appropriately use that. I mean, there are certain guidelines and regulations attached to some of that money. So imagine just being able to pick up the phone, call your law firm, have that peace of mind, protection, and security there without having to discuss it with another colleague or friend. No disrespect to them, but like Bob, I mean, we're great friends. I mean, he and Linda and all of us, but Bob didn't practice law. So he would not be the best candidate for me to run something by him. Okay, Bob, what about this contract? Okay, Bob, what about this? No, it's just he didn't practice. And the same here. So that's how we're helping entrepreneurs. And there are so many of the Midlands Association members there that have gotten such tremendous benefit from this small plan. So again, what's exciting, we get to help you with a home business supplement. We have many plans. As I stated earlier, we're a portfolio of legal and identity theft services. However, we have found a fit that's really well utilized and beneficial for Midlands REIA, as a starting point. The home business supplement can be added to a personal plan. And what it's providing you is unlimited telephone consultation, advice, research. That's huge. The attorneys also write letters on your behalf. They make phone calls on your behalf, given that situation. I mean, designated consultation, document review. We are finding more and more Midlands REIA investors in particular, contracts are coming up all the time. Well, yes, it may be one that you're using that you Google or one that you modified or revised from someone else who had success with that particular contract. But how are you sure it fits your needs? Is it really in your best interest? It's about like people say a divorce. It's like, okay, well, yeah, this worked for Mary, that worked for Tom, but all divorces are not created equal. So again, even though you have a contract that might be working for you, what if there is one letter, one conjunction or something in there that would negate a part of that contract and you didn't know about it? So again, have the attorneys review your contract. They also write debt collection letters for our members. You as a small business owner, as an entrepreneur, that is huge. Go and seek collection agencies and ask, how much is it that you charge for, debt collection? They're going to keep a percent of that. Here, whatever our attorneys recover on your behalf, is yours 100%. I just had one of my members, she has a concierge type service. And of course, it was a lease agreement, and it wasn't a lot of money, $300. I mean, gosh, that's not, a lot of money. Well, it's a lot in a sense, but it's not a lot. Okay. But regardless, it was the principle. A lease agreement to lease this item into another business owner's facility. That business owner, she did not recover what she thought was justifiable from utilizing that item. It wasn't the person who leased it to her fault. So she decided, I'm not going to pay you the $300 monthly fee. I thought that was just crazy. But guess what? When the member called me, we had a friendly conversation, laugh. I said, you better go and call the law firm. She said, but it's only $300, but it is $300. Call the law firm. Guess what happened? Within 1 month, the attorneys had her $300 in their office. Now they're sending it to her because of a demand letter they wrote on her behalf. So just know, sometimes we need muscle. I just wish it's about like you join the fitness center and then somebody else go work out and you look the way you want to look. It's like, okay, I like that. So that's our muscle. I mean, they help us with IRS audit representation. I too am a Schedule C, Schedule E. Many of you on the line, all of you who have investment, and most of you dealing in the business entrepreneur arena, we're 1099. So again, how does that look when we are audited? What do we do? Just imagine being able to pick up the phone and call your law firm, and now you have access to a tax attorney. Have I used them? Absolutely. I've used that category as well. And it certainly was a big difference prior to back in 1980 when I didn't have this service and was audited and went there with a shoebox. Not a great position to be in. Many of you might be dealing with contracts that are interstate. That's huge. You could have property you've bought in North Carolina, California. One of my members, he buying a big home, one of these mountain cabins up there in Valley Forge, somewhere Tennessee. I mean, a $500,000 piece of property. And guess what? He's having the attorney review it. So I'm just sharing that with you because I could go on and on with stories, but limited with time. So in addition to having all that business service, just imagine now you have the personal, because without us, there is no business. So it's just as important for us to have personal protection. That's where Legal Shield come in. You can ask yourself, what about on the personal side? Contracts, document review, landlord tenant issues, traffic tickets, those things. I mean, you might say traffic tickets, no big deal. Yes, it is a big deal when your insurance go up several $1,000s over the course of 3 to 4 years based on a 4-point ticket or something to that effect. I've used that area as well. So really, I mean, I don't know too many areas here I have not used. So I just want you to imagine having affordable access to your law firm for your business and your personal matters for about $1.25 a day, or maybe a little bit more depending on your situation. Most of Midlands REIA members have they're eligible for that $1.25 to 30 cents a day. I can't even get a senior cup of coffee for the $1.25. I mean, that's what you're looking at. So here again, I'm gonna just highlight some of the personal. This is not just for you. Imagine your entire family. You or your spouse or a significant other. I did not say and. Anyway, you or your spouse, if you cohabitate, we cover that significant other there, partners. We don't discriminate in any regard if you live together. You can have your living will, your last will and testament, your healthcare power of attorney, all of that. COVID now, I can't begin to tell you. I'm doing will workshops, did one last week. We had 80, I think it ended up closing out with about 88 individuals, close to 90 people on a will workshop on a Friday night. That is just huge. Most of the time on a Friday night, people are looking at, oh boy, I'm just having my meltdown. But the interest is there, the need is there. So, and the fact that we can help them to have those documents in place without paying thousands of dollars. Because if you were to go to any attorney, and if there are attorneys on the line, I'm sure they can attest to the fact that to have a living will, last will and testament, healthcare power of attorney, durable power of attorney, all of those items done for one person will be most likely excess of $1,000. We're doing it for both. And that's just some of what you receive as part of your personal coverage. 24/7 emergency access, 24/7, like the person that called with the accident. We're encouraging our members, if there's an accident or whatever, don't just start answering questions, call your law firm because they're in a better position to advise you how to deal with that situation even before law enforcement arrive. So again, utilize the service. I mean, we could have a knock on the door downstairs right now. We don't know. They say, well, we want to search your home, ask you questions, whatever. What do we do at 7:30 almost at night? We can call the law firm. So we want you to know about these services. That's why Bob and I have just been doing so many different workshops trying to educate. Identity theft, another area. Right now, that area has skyrocketed as well. Why is that? Because of COVID, and people are getting others PPL money, EIDL money, applying for unemployment in others' names, all kind of crazy things that we would never dream of. They are doing it, and the reason is that's their MO. So we're going out to make a living one way, and they're looking at how they can strategize and just make a living another way. So we have one of the most comprehensive identity theft services in the marketplace. I'm sure all of you have some form of protection in place. Please allow us to do a comparison there because we did receive the 2020 Cybersecurity Award saying that we had the most robust identity theft service in North America. And we're proud of that. It's not about monitoring, it's the personal, your privacy management. Here again, as you can see some of the highlights here, the passport, the driver's license, the medical, the dark web, all of that is part of what we're doing on our members' behalf. Credit card, 401k, all of that is being monitored. Your entire reputation, social media, all of that is part of that plan protecting our members because you never know what's out there, who's doing what. Highlighting another, shifting gears here, as I stated earlier, we provide a portfolio of services. Some of you may know commercial drivers or may be a commercial drivers. People have multiple streams of income. Hey, highly recommended these days for sure. So again, if you fall into this area, allow us to educate you on that. I mean, because that too is so huge, and that's a benefit that we offer. We have a gun owner supplement. I do 2 to 3 gun owner presentations a month. And again, bringing to the table education as it relates on having this type protection in place. 20 plus million guns were sold in 2020, the highest ever. And why is that? Interesting times right about now, to say the least. So it's not that you're wrong, it's the fact that you have a gun. And what if you're traveling from South Carolina to New Jersey? What are their laws as it relates to, a firearm, carrying that firearm openly, things of that nature. So again, that is one of the most robust services that we have. Concluding here, just want to highlight our personal and business supplement that has been one of the most sought after demand here within Midlands REIA is the $37.90 a month. And that's where we are looking at protecting you and giving you some business protection. Now, depending on your true need from a consultation, we can identify if you feel you need to scale it up. That's great. But we don't go and say, well, oh, you have, let's look at this plan. It's $149 or it's $99 just because. No, we do a consultation and look at the best fit for you, because it's not about the price point, it's what's best for you right now, knowing that you can increase your coverage at any given time. If you want to add one of the supplements, we are here. We even have a ride share supplement. That's huge. So as you can see here, Bob, all of you probably know how to reach him. Midlands REIA, the website has information and links to Legal Shield, plus our perks. I mean, I've used the perks so much when I tell you from the automotive area to the movie, the entertainment, I mean, I just saved, well, I sent about $500 worth of flowers in December. Not all of it was just great. I mean, you know, situations. Those 4 orders would have been right at $500. But because I went into my perks, I was able to send all that and got a 20 to 25% discount on each order. That saved me over $100+. You know, so again, we have car rentals, other businesses or categories here that would help you with your business expense. And that's huge. So again, we'll educate you on that. In conclusion, I could go on and on and on with stories here, but Bob and I have utilized this service. I've used it so much in the last 20+ years until I'm paid up for life. And Bob, what tenure is much shorter than mine, and he's, I believe, almost quadruple. So again, it's because our members don't have to worry about checking their bank account, checking their credit card, you know, checking their wallet before they check their rights. And that's why we're so excited. And our law firm normally receive about 2 million calls per year. And why is that? Just because of what I just said. We don't have to check the financial aspect and the phone get heavier and heavier. We just pick up the phone. More importantly, you tap an app. We have it where you just tap the app on your phone, and there is nothing more freeing than that. I tapped the app today, and it's like, you know, it's exciting. That's it. So, Bob, my time is about up. I thank you. I thank all of you for coming on a few minutes earlier to learn a little bit more and allow me and or Bob to provide you any more information that you so desire. We have comprehensive videos, brochures that we can provide you electronically. By the way, this is an employee benefit in the event some of you are affiliated with companies. We provide this service education to organizations. It doesn't matter. I have an 8 o'clock, so I may be hopping off here a little early to talk with a pastor about doing a will workshop for his congregation. So we're just looking for avenues. So share that with Midlands REIA, because they are the first line of benefit there with that funding going back into the organization from your protection there. So thank you so much for your time, Bob. I thank you for
Sarah,
allowing me to be part tonight. Yes.
For all the gun owners out there, Sarah, are you still holding your gun owners workshop tomorrow?
It's not tomorrow. It's Monday at 7 o'clock.
If you let me know, I'll put it on our calendar of events and I'll pipe it out there. Okay. For all you gun owners, you might want to take a look at this one. It's legal protection for gun owners, basically. So
right. Okay. I'll certainly provide you that link, and we have CWP instructor. He's providing great information. So we co-facilitate that on, and it's only 30 minutes on Monday the 11th, 7 to 7:30.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. Well, if it's possible, how do I get control back from you? I think if I do this. Okay. Can you see my
Oh yeah,
screen?
You're great. You're great. Great job, Bob.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. Well, thank you, Sarah. I appreciate that. You know, Sarah, if I've made more money than you from Legal Shield, it's only because you're using it probably the way it was originally meant to be used, as a defense. I use it as a weapon. Okay. The only reason I made more money than you is because I use their information to shake down attorneys. Okay. So, but I really I use Legal Shield at least twice a month. But anyway,
yeah, great.
Well, thank you for your patience, folks. Whoops, we have a couple people waiting to get in. Let me just let them in. Okay. Anyway, this is the monthly Midlands REIA meeting. Hopefully we'll start meeting in person again soon. As you notice, COVID-19 still is kind of a bit of an issue. All right. So until it definitely goes away, it might not even be until the second half of this year. I don't know. Okay. But anyway, this is a very distant second way to get us all together. But hopefully when we start meeting in person soon, we can all actually, shake hands and meet each other in person. Now, liability disclosure. notwithstanding the legal shield attorneys and whatnot, there are, as far as I know, there's no licensed attorneys or financial planners or advisors on this call. Okay. So anything you hear on this call is really just personal experiences from either myself or others. If you question the legal or financial wisdom of anything you hear, at Midlands REIA meetings or, even from members or whatnot, please seek qualified help, like legal shield attorneys. Um, Rather than just rely on people like laypersons like myself. Okay. Now that being said and out of the way, I can tell you my personal experiences. Remember, I told you about using that Rule 60, the relief from judgment, to overturn a foreclosure here in Lexington County. I can't say that's going to work for everybody. My specific case is great. Okay. Anyway, okay, one thing I've noticed is nationwide, it seems to be kind of a general consensus that there's only about a 3% success rate in people, the common folk like us, who get into real estate activities of ever doing anything, even a single deal. Only 3% nationwide. Here in Columbia, I'm under the impression it's a little higher, maybe 10%, but still that's pretty low. Okay. Some of our goals for 2021 mirror what we wanted to do from 2020 on. We want to start providing more workshops. And now I use the word cartels, really subgroups. That was Carlos Barrera's idea, was to use the word cartels. He thinks it sounds like, cooler, I guess. But now one thing I will tell you is this, okay, there's even some local gurus out there who are shilling these expensive coaching programs. And I'm not saying they're bad. Okay. But I'm telling you this, they want you to put it on your credit card, or they'll try to get credit for you. And I'm very much against that. And as you know, only about 3% of us ever really do anything nationwide. And the gurus who charge you $25,000 or $5,000, $10,000, $25,000 on your credit cards, they know this, but they have your money. So if you happen to be one of that 97% who doesn't do a thing, you're stuck with all that debt. This is what I think. Earn it first. It doesn't cost a lot of money to, learn the very basics of wholesaling, rehabbing, subject twos, creative finance. And when you make that money, then you can decide if you want to pay for it, use that money to pay for a guru program. Okay. And that way, at the very least, you won't have that credit card debt. I've fallen into that trap when I first started real estate investing, and it sucks. Okay. The Midlands REIA goal for this year is to greatly increase the success rate affordably to at least 50%. I'd love to see a 100% success rate. For beginners, Midlands REIA is especially for beginners. I figure that's the best way to really gear it, okay, is to get you up and running as quickly as possible, independently from anyone else. Okay, what that means is you can take what you know and move around different REIAs, different states, hopefully. Now, granted, we do teach what's more specific to South Carolina, but I think a lot of it can be generally applied to other states as well. Okay. As much as we'd like to keep you as annual members year after year after year, we know your situations change and whatnot. You leave the state or whatever. Okay. But anyway, the end goal is to get you up and running as quickly as possible independently. For the advanced investors who do stick with us, okay, we want to try to continue to provide you the best resources that we can. Okay. I do a lot of, I joke around and say, yeah, I'm home in my underwear a lot, which is actually true. But to be fair, okay, I'm actually out there doing a lot of networking as well. Okay. When I learn new things, I want to share it with you here and I've learned a lot of things from the people who I network with. And that's really what I think the REIA should be about. Now, why the low success rate? 3% or even 10% success rate sounds really low. Okay. I think it's because it's easy to do. The disciplines you need to take to make this work is easy to do, and it's easy to not do because there's a low barrier for entry into how we do this business. So it's not like you went to college and spent like $100,000 or more to get an education. You say, oh, I got to make it back. Okay. It's because, you just jump right in and start doing this. There's some people who jumped right in and started making money right away. That doesn't always happen. In fact, it rarely happens, but it does happen. So I think when people as you can see here along the timeline, success and failure look very much alike. And I think most people give up somewhere in here. They stay somewhere between halfway to maybe almost to the edge of success or failure. Okay. And in the end, they give up and it goes into failure. So I think the key is just to be consistent, be tenacious. All right. Don't give up. You know, I heard someone say you can always give up. Why give up now? How does a good club or association help? Well, a good club or association, it doesn't have to be Midlands REIA. Oops, I'm sorry, let me let some people in here. It does not have to be Midlands REIA. All right, there's other REIAs in the area. Okay, in fact, some are free. Midlands REIA does charge an annual fee. We try to keep it low, but it does charge an annual fee. I always encourage you, if you're thinking of joining Midlands REIA, to look at the other ones first, because you might be able to get the information and the knowledge and the network you need for free. Why spend even a penny if you can get it for free? Okay. A good club or association will offer an abundance of resources, provide great networking. The great networking hopefully will get a lot better when COVID-19 goes away. We try to give the best training possible. We're always seeking to improve and adapt. I love to hear people say, hey, you guys are great, you did this great. What I really want to hear is, oh, you know what, you guys should really work on to improve this. Okay, so we can work on that. And also, we try to learn and teach the best practices for local investing, right? Not just in South Carolina, but here in the Midlands. Don't get me wrong, South Carolina real estate law is supposed to be applied uniformly everywhere, and that's kind of subjective. Anyway, okay, how does a good club or association help? Here's an example. Kristen Johnson, I joke around and say, this is my only daughter, okay? But one thing I was watching with my wife, I was watching Flip or Flop on TV the other night, and I don't know if you can see these numbers. Can you see those numbers, Sarah? Can you see those okay? Okay, well, I can't even close this. Anyway, they're giving unrealistic numbers here. They're showing a purchase price, renovation cost, total investment, sales price, and closing costs. They're adding them all up, and they're showing a total profit. Right away, Kristen knew, no, where are the holding fees? Okay. See, this is the stuff they're piping nationwide on HGTV. And so people are jumping in under false information saying, hey, look how easy it is to flip a house and make a lot of money. Okay. But realistically, you got to get some education. And this is where a good club or association can help. All right. You network with the right people who are doing the business, and the people who are helping to run the club, hopefully they know what they're doing. But anyway, now we are on the major social media sites, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. I think we're on Tumblr and maybe a couple more, Instagram, that sort of thing. But if nothing else, join our Money Mastermind group on Facebook. This is where a lot of deal making is occurring. It was initially meant to match local borrowers with local lenders for quick and relatively easy private money if you have a good deal. It turned into more of a deal flipping group, which is just fine, because really anything that's going to enhance deal transactions and whatnot, that's really what we're looking for. One thing we do have in our members area is if you log in, and I keep on getting asked by maybe one or two people each month, well, where's the list of cash buyers? We can't find it. So I'm showing you right now. Once you log in, you're not going to see this pull down menu until you log in. When you log in, okay, there's a cash buyers list, and it will give, it's over 50 cash buyers, like 53 or 54 of them with their phone numbers. Okay. Now there are a few, I have to update that. I haven't updated for a couple months now, so I should probably update it because I keep on seeing new players enter the game. These are proven cash buyers who I've actually done deals with. Some people who I know, they've shown me the money, if you will. These are a lot of these came from auctions. I network with people to foreclosure sales and other auctions. So these are legitimate cash buyers. So when you get a deal and you want to wholesale it, then just go down the list and start making calls. Okay, this is an example of one of our workshops. This is Blair Koblisky. She's great. She's a realtor as well as a rehabber, and we're trying to get her started with her own REIA up in the Northeast area called Sandhills REIA, I believe. So I need to talk to Blair. And now this is Blair's, not Midlands REIA is just going to help her get started, but after that, it's all up to Blair. Okay, so I'm hoping Blair can take this bull by the horns and turn it into something really great up there, because I see people drive in all the way from like the northeast part of Columbia after a hard day's work and they're fighting traffic and they have to go to the Hyde Place over in Irmo. You know, I think it's, well, for one thing, it's dangerous because you're tired, but also it's more convenient. And I know Blair's, she knows what she's doing. She's a very good realtor and investor. We're always looking for ways to improve. Topics, workshops, subgroups. If you have any ideas on what we can add, or even some things you don't want to see that we, you know, might take away, just let us know, okay? Like for example, next month, I'm trying to get Dan Hanford. He buys apartment buildings. I'm trying to get him on to teach us a little bit about something called syndication, which is legally pooling money. So I'll see if I can get him for next month. Annual member benefits overview, discounts on Midlands REIA trainings and workshops. Midlands REIA members typically we get in there for, we'll get in trainings for free with a nominal fee charged for the people who are not annual members. If we have an outside guru come in, which very occasionally we do, and the only reason is because I use their stuff and I believe in their stuff, I can't control the cost of their workshops and whatnot. But if it's a Midlands REIA training that we do have control over, we like to get heavy discounts to the members, and lots of times free. And now obviously there's no door fee to this meeting because it's online, but normally at the Hyatt Place, we charge a $20 door fee. Okay, that's to help defray the cost of like the hotel room and stuff. Access to the members area with local cash buyers again, documents, videos, and other resources. All these documents are here are the ones I use even now. And I've had people contribute other ones that have helped them that I didn't know about. So I think it's a pretty good document library. Also close guidance for deals. This is a Midlands REIA benefit, not a national thing. But I know one of our members, like I know Andy Holland, who's speaking tonight, he's more than welcome to share his knowledge, you know, his expertise. And I know another one's Adrienne Morgan. You know, she's great. You know, she and her husband Mark, they've been very prolific private lenders in the area. They're very willing to share their knowledge, you know, their expertise with Midlands REIA members. And don't get me wrong, we'll talk to other people as well. But you know, the people who become Midlands REIA members, at least I'd like to think they get special treatment. Okay, when you sign up to become a member, okay, remember the goal is to get you up and running as quickly as possible, independently of anyone. The first thing we're going to do is kind of like, we're going to force feed you some stuff. Okay. This is something I came up with and I've been doing for a while now. I try to schedule 3 webinars with the new members. The first one being, of course, the most important one is finding the deals with and without relying on realtors. Without relying on realtors, this is where the public records come in, looking for pre-foreclosures, probates, bankruptcies, anything that screams motivated seller. Okay. And of course, there are some good realtors on there who truly understand investors who you can work with. Don Adams is one of them. Blair, of course, Blair Kobliski. But anyway, webinar number 2 is the basics of all cash purchases and sales, like cash wholesaling and cash rehabbing. We get into little things like reverse assignments and stuff like that. Okay, little tricks of the trade and whatnot, in addition to some of the basics. Webinar number 3 is this is the fun one, the creative finance one. And this is actually my favorite technique, is the subject to one, because the financing is already in place. There's no reason to go to, you know, a bank to get a new mortgage loan if the loan's already on the property. That's my belief. So anyway, each webinar is about 1.5 hours long. So once you sign up, immediately, I like to see if we can schedule these to get you up and running. These are just the start. Okay, it's your job to improve on them, make them better, and make them your own. All right. Now, just as in a bunch of pictures, okay, we try to provide the basic training and tools you need to really get started to success. I should probably change that, because whether you succeed or not is up to you. Okay. But we try to give you stuff that will get you on the path to succeed if you stick with this. Now you have to take consistent and persistent action. We're going to kick you out of the nest and say, okay, go to it, take action. That's up to you now. Okay. We're not coaches. We're reference librarians. We'll provide support as needed. You know, these coaching programs, we have mixed feelings about those. You know, some people can use good coaches, but realistically, I think the at least what's worked best for me is I know what's out there and I say, okay, let me try this. Hey, how do I do this? And then I go to reference librarian. All right. And we don't, believe me, we don't charge those expensive coaching fees because frankly, we're not coaches. We're just librarians. Okay, we meet every second Monday of the month, and I appreciate today because I understand I found out too late. Today is a playoff game for college football, and next Monday is actually the college football championship. I forgot about that. So I appreciate the people who are on despite that. And I hope you're recording it with your whatever you guys use now. Annual membership for a single person is $125 a year, and for a couple, $200. Now, there's something called REIA bucks to credit some of this off. Like, for example, if you introduce someone to the association, a first-time visitor, we can give you 5 REIA bucks credit for that you can apply towards workshops or even the membership fee. And if that person signs up, we give you another 20, little things like that. Okay. So anyway, at a normal meeting, when we meet at the Hyde Place, the first visit is free. There's a door fee afterwards. No benefits other than you're at the meeting. Okay. And usually when we're meeting, you can apply that door fee to the annual membership. Again, there's no fee to this one. Okay. Our calendar of events, please check this regularly. This is where I normally put the events coming up, other REIA meetings, like for example, the Palmetto Real Estate Network usually meets, but they're closed down because of the pandemic. The Columbia Women in Real Estate Group, usually every 4th Saturday, every 3rd Saturday, I think, but they're closed down because of the pandemic. So it looks pretty sparse now, but as the pandemic goes away, this calendar event should fill up pretty quickly. In fact, Sarah's gun law seminar next Monday is going to be on this calendar event. So please check this regularly to see what's cooking. Tonight's subject, okay? There are generally 3 ways to make money in real estate. One way is appreciation. The second way is through rentals, rental income, and the third way is profits from business activity, wholesaling, rehabbing. We're concentrating tonight more on rental income. It's the more passive of the incomes. Ideally, you can do this while you're still working a job. And that's why we brought on Andy Holland and Brianna Davey. They both started building their rental portfolios while they're still working. Okay. Andy bought his first rental in 2005 as a student at the University of South Carolina. All right. And he is now a passive investor and landlord while still working his job. He loves his job. I don't think he'll ever leave it. Brianna Davey is from Goose Creek, just outside of Charleston. And Brianna has a degree in business administration. Oops, I got some people coming in here. Okay. And anyway, Brianna was a manager, I think a manager for Sherwin-Williams until 2016. She started doing the real estate, flipping, rental, that sort of thing. She's now full-time into real estate. Okay. And I will have a recording link up so you can write their contact information down, or you don't have to. It's up to you. Okay. But if it's okay, they're going to speak in this order. If it's okay, let me turn this over to Andy right now. Let me see if I can find him. There's Andy. Okay, Andy, I'm going to make you in fact, if it's okay, I'm going to make both you and Brianna co-hosts so you can.
Okay. And Bob, the national championship game is actually tonight. So. Oh
crap! Oh boy.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I appreciate the people here. I hope you guys are recording this or something. I mean the championship game. Okay, both you and Brianna are co-hosts. So, do you know how to switch a screen over? Oh, absolutely.
Yep. Can you see that screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
You got something in your ear.
Yeah. So I can actually hear. I apologize if you hear a dog barking in the background. I apologize for that already. So being a landlord. So who am I? Well, I started landlording in 2005. The main reason for that, I moved to the US from England. So when you move over here, I was on a student visa. So I was attending the University of South Carolina, and unfortunately, you can only work for the university while you are on a student visa. So I needed some other income. So what I did was I bought a house. Back then, you could buy a house with a no-doc loan, where basically you could just sign to say that you would make the payments and they would give you a house. So I got a loan on my first house and I bought a fixer-upper. So I fixed that house up and fixed it up as a rental. Once that house was done, I bought another rental. I bought another house, fixed that one up, rented the first one. And I repeated that process. So I wasn't able to officially work, but it was very useful to give me supplemental income. I wish I had access to this group back then because I did a few things wrong. I can get into those in a little bit. If anyone's got questions on what I did wrong, I'll gladly go into it in a lot more detail. But starting in 2005, I bought rentals through the Great Recession of 2007 and 2009. Columbia was, we were very fortunate that the market didn't get hit too hard, although there were still some really good opportunities to buy following the Great Recession as well. Mentioned earlier, I sold one rental house. I bought a house in a floodplain, and by the time you pay for flood insurance and everything else, that one didn't quite work out. So I realized that I could get a better return on the money. So I sold that one and actually bought an even better investment after the fact. So I was passively investing after that and enjoyed the rental side. The house hacking, I did all the work myself. I've put down floors, I've redone full kitchens. One of the houses I bought was called the Pink House. It had pink carpet, pink walls, pink counters. Everything was pink tile. Those are good. You get them for a good price, and I put a lot of sweat equity in that one, and I still have that house as a rental today, 12 years later, and apart from the initial rehab, I haven't really touched that house. After graduating in 2009, I moved on to a full-time job. The good thing about a full-time job is you have a W-2 income, so that gives you a little bit more access to funding. So I'm still buying rentals today because the funding helps me buy even more. I've also flipped some houses as well. Flipping houses is fantastic. You get a lot more cash inflow. But if you look at the overall trend, if you're buying rentals, you're basically securing money for the future as well. You've got your appreciation and everything else. So why do you want to buy a rental? What's your motivation? Well, I saw this posted to one of the groups, well, to Bob's group earlier this month, and have your assets pay for your lifestyle. So you buy a rental property, you make $1,000 profit, and it pays your mortgage. Buy the second one, you make $750, it pays your car note, insurance, and gas. And then you can also do an online business that was on this article, and that'll pay you other miscellaneous. So you can basically have all your assets pay for your lifestyle. But I was more interested in the two on the left, the $1,000 profit and the $750 profit to cover my car and my house. So it's easy, right? You go to the MLS, you buy a house that's 100% market ready, you manage the property yourself, you do a few minor repairs here and there when necessary. You can buy it in your personal name. If you buy in a personal name, you get a lot better access to funds. You can get a 30-year mortgage. So your payments on a monthly basis are really low. Interest rates at the moment, especially, you're looking around 3% if you buy a house in your personal name and did a house hack. If you want to cover yourself for a home you own under your personal name, you can get umbrella insurance and you can maximize your liability insurance. The other option, if you're looking at turning it into more of a business, you can always buy it into an LLC. But the problem with that is you've got a higher priced 5-year balloon, but you do have a little bit more protection. And then the next step is just watch the money roll in. It's that simple. So let's look at some numbers real quick. $100,000 rental. On the left, we've got in a personal name. So if you want to avoid the PMI, you could get a 30-year mortgage, 20% down. I did this a while ago, so I had 4.5% interest. in reality, that's closer. If you're buying it in your own personal name, you can probably get 3.5% now with no problem. So this number would actually be higher. So your down payment, say 20 grand, 3,000 in closing costs. So you'd be in the house 23,000, get $1,000 a month rent, pay your mortgage, pay your insurance, pay your taxes. Your expenses are $522. Oh, someone's trying to get in. How do you get someone in? Bob, how do you admit someone to the room?
I'm sorry, Andy, I didn't even see that. Let me pop him up.
I already did it. I already admitted.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, thank you, Brianna.
Thank you, Brianna.
You're welcome.
So expenses $522. Take that away from your 1,000, you make $477 a month, or $5,700 a year, which is almost 25% cash on cash. On the right, you could do it in a LLC. So your interest payment on one of these mortgages is usually high. It's usually a 20-year amortization with a 5-year balloon and a little bit more money down. So you'd have 28 grand invested. Mortgage is about $100 more, but you'd still make about $400 a month or $4,600 annual for a 16% cash on cash return. So everyone's going to go buy a rental tomorrow based on those numbers. Well, unfortunately, before you do, consider the actual reality. And what I just showed you is basically what the gurus show you because they don't understand the Midlands. So I want to try and use this as a learning experience to what the true numbers of owning a rental look like. Also, the other thing I want to get into is don't overextend, as you never know what the future holds. This little meme on the left, the landlord, when you give them that $600 stimulus check for the $7,000 balance due for the past 9 months. Everything that's going on in the world with COVID, no one knew what was going to happen. People have been, an eviction moratorium has been in place since March. So if you say you've got $1,000 rental, that's 9 months of people not paying you, potentially not paying you rent. And if they get $600, that's not going to help them catch up. If they haven't been paying for the last 7 or 8 months, 9 months, you haven't got a chance. You're basically going to lose all that money. So first of all, you need to make sure your rentals are self-sufficient. There will be times when unforeseen items happen. Sudden unexpected unemployment, maybe of yourself. Actually experienced this a couple of years ago. My wife's company was suddenly taken over and she lost her job. So we were down a salary overnight. And recessions can hit. So 2007, 2009, that hit very hard. The stock market crash. The stock market back then went down 50%. It bounced back, but it, depending on when you need the money, it doesn't help you if it crashes at that time. And then a global pandemic. I never thought that I would ever witness a global pandemic, but unfortunately 2019 with COVID, it's put some people in some tough situations. The first one, the unexpected unemployment, that impacts one person. The last three basically impact everybody. And you have to be able to survive these times. So property taxes. Property taxes in South Carolina, if you live in your property, you pay 4% taxes. However, if you don't live in the property, that increases to 6%. So it's a 50% increase in taxes. How much difference can that really make? I'm going to give you a real world example, and I know it's real because it's mine. This house here, it's an $82,000 house in Lexington 1. The only thing on this house, the taxable value, as you can see, is $82,000 on both. The ratio over here was 4%. The ratio over here was 6%. This assessment, 3290 and 4940, that's part of the taxable number, except this is the actual tax bill. So back in 2006, and I'm sorry, this is an old one, but this was my own personal residence that I house hacked and then put a tenant in. So the year I lived in that house, the taxes were $712 a year. Fast forward to 2007, this is when it became the 6%. That number jumped to $1,847. That's a 260% increase, not 50%. If you compare these two, the big difference, if you look here, the county, what you pay for the fire, the police, that increased about 50%. For the agency and the bonds, that doubled. What you notice up here on the top is the schools. You get a credit back on the schools. So you don't really pay much schools on your personal taxes. But if you look on the left side, that's the number that increases significantly. This number alone increased by $1,000. So that's one example. This is a house that's $157,000. Again, the only difference, the taxable value is the same. The only difference on this one is the house went from the 4 to the 6. This was in 2013 to 2014. So when I lived in the house, the taxes on it were $1,085 a year. When I moved out, this jumped to $4,427 a year. This has actually since been reassessed since then, and that number is significantly higher than this 4,400. But even this one change year over year was a 410% increase. And when I lived in the house, the taxes for schools were $135, which covered the bond. That jumped to $3,000. Now this is Lexington 1 schools, so they are really good schools, and the house rents very quickly and it rents for a good amount, but it's still a lot of money. And that's just something the gurus do not show you. So the next question is, do you want passive income or a job? I personally do this passively, so I don't want to have to work on these. Everything I do, I try and make sure that they are 100% self-sufficient, and that if I'm not available, everyone looks after the properties for me. So you can get a property manager to rent the property, collect payments, handle all the maintenance calls. It'll cost you about 8 to 12% a year. A lot of people think when you first start, I can do it myself. I know a friend who's looking for a house. And how hard can it be? Well, I will let you know, you never rent to a friend and you never rent to family. The reason being, if you rent to a friend or a family, you'll end up giving them breaks that you wouldn't give anyone else. And it's very hard to evict a friend and a family. And mixing business with pleasure is never a good thing, in my opinion. You can try it, it may work out, but you've got to ask yourself, are you willing to lose that friend or family member over it? And in the end, it always goes bad, in my experience. So how hard can it be? I mean, they'll always pay on time and they'll never leave. So you'll save the money. Well, they'll pay on time and they'll never leave, but until they don't. You're their friend. Friends who borrow money from other friends, they sometimes think they don't have to pay you back the same. The same goes with paying rent. They don't. It's not good to mix the two. I'm just going to leave it at that. If you want some examples, I can share examples of every time I've broken this rule, I've been burned. So property management. So do you have a list of renters looking to rent in the area? Probably not, but your property management firm will. You also need to advertise and screen tenants, and you have to go and show them your single house around their schedule. If you've only got one house and you have 10 calls on Facebook, the likelihood that you're going to get them all to be at one place at the same time is very slim. So you're going to end up driving to the house, the person's going to be late, or they're not going to show up, or something's going to happen. Whereas a property manager gets a lot of applications. They can fill your home quicker, and they know all the laws and rules. There's a lot of discrimination laws out there. You can do it, but just be very, very careful. I'll get Legal Shield. If your tenant has repairs, do you want them to call you in the middle of the night? And if they called you, who are you going to call? A few years ago now, it was Christmas Eve, and I was actually hunting. So I was in a deer stand in Orangeburg. It was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I got a phone call from my property manager at the time because I was handling my own maintenance. And they said to me, your AC unit's gone out at your house. Have you got someone you can send? And I said, yeah, I've got someone I can send, but I'm not calling them at 4 p.m. on Christmas Eve. Call your emergency company and send someone out that I don't know. It's like there's certain things that I don't want to be asking someone to give up their Christmas Eve. So just make sure you have a list of people you'd want to call. Thankfully, they had their emergency company. They went out, they fixed it, they got them going, and that person's Christmas was hopefully saved. Also, can you keep business separate? And can you perform an eviction? It's very difficult to evict someone. I'm going to go back to another Christmas, another December. Tenant hadn't paid. They were scheduled for eviction. It was the 20th of December, and they were scheduled to be evicted on like the 21st. I called the property management company and told them I don't feel comfortable evicting them at Christmas. So if they can pay something, they can stay. I did that. They stayed for an extra, they gave me a partial month payment, and then we ended up having to file eviction again in January, and they actually did damage to the house on the way out the door. So that was the last time I got involved in trying to help somebody and protect them. It's difficult if you know the tenant to perform an eviction. So try and keep everything separate, and property managers, they don't have any emotional ties. So it could be worth it in the long run. And all of these items, they take time and they take money. So it's either going to cost you time and money, or it's going to cost you the 8 to 12% in money. Vacancy. When a tenant leaves, you always have cleanup to do. It's difficult to have zero vacancy. Trying to time it perfectly. Sometimes it works out and you can have a tenant ready to go. Other times you have to go in, you have to do some cleanup, you may have to do some touch-up paint, replace some carpet. So sometimes you have some sort of vacancy. And if a tenant doesn't pay rent, will you be tough enough to evict them? And the whole time he's going through the whole eviction process, especially this last year, there's people who've been trying to evict people from April. And that's a lot of lost money and lost vacancy expense. Also, you have to know the rules and laws to file correctly. If you don't do all the documents correctly, the judge may throw it out, or you may end up with a legal battle, and it could get very expensive very quickly. And tenants usually always ask for the court date just to try and delay things as well. Next to repairs, I mentioned earlier, you're going to have some small repairs. Well, always budget for some repair money each month. You're not going to have large, big ticket items, but when a roof goes out, when heating and air goes out, an appliance breaks, it's going to be a lot more than whatever you put away. So if you were to put 10% of your rent away for repairs, that's $100 a month. Well, if you've got a call out fee because there's an issue with a light or something like that, that's a $100 call out fee. But when your roof goes out, then that's $4,000 or $5,000. So that would take you 50 years to basically recoup that cost. So always put something away each month, even if it's just in your numbers. The other thing is tenants don't respect your home like you do. They don't look after it. They don't change the air filters. Supply those. A tenant won't pay to replace the air filter until the end of their contract. But if they're supplied or you check and you bill them for them, then that will be done. By changing the filters, it will extend the life of your AC unit, which again is probably the second biggest item in the house after the roof. But yeah, they never look after them like you'd want. You've also got to protect yourself. So you can use liability insurance, recommend going with the maximum. If you feel that that's not enough, you can also buy an umbrella policy as well. An umbrella policy is only useful, or you're only able to add it if you maximize your regular liability insurance on your house as well, on the rental property. But it can help add additional protection. And then if you want to do it in an LLC, that's even better protection. Just make sure you don't pierce the corporate veil. Keep the business totally separate from your personal. Again, financing is a little bit more expensive in an LLC, but you can build relationships, and it's good if you're going to be doing multiple projects. Another expense are HOA fees. Watch out for apartment complexes, especially. Apartments are very cheap to buy. I see a lot of deals going on the apartment complexes. They are cheap to buy, but the HOA can really kill the deal quickly. HOA fees can be $100, $200, $300, $400 a month. And make sure you read the covenants, know what they cover, and also look to see how much they can increase, and try and look at the trends around the increases as well. There's some HOAs where they'll limit it to 25% a year. Well, if it's $400, then that's $100. That's a lot per month that it can go up. Also see if they've done any special assessments, especially if the place needs a new roof that's covered by the covenants. If they don't have any reserves, just make sure you're not going to be hit with a big special assessment. They do protect the homeowner because they're trying to protect the area, especially in nicer neighborhoods. They do try and make sure that houses are maintained, grass is cut, people don't leave trash in the yard. But also you have to make sure your tenants respect and know all the rules, because otherwise the HOA is going to be coming after you and maybe trying to fine you as well for something that the tenant has done. Again, another reason why you may want to use a property manager. So this is the same schedule as I showed you before, but this is the reality if you're buying it from the MLS. So same numbers with exception of the yellow. So actual taxes on this $100,000 house would put your taxes about $2,400 a year. So that's $200 a month. If you do property management, that's about another $100 a month if you do 10%. Vacancy, I usually do 8.3. 8.3 is 1 month out of the year. If you have a nice house and you maintain it, hopefully you can reduce that vacancy number and get people to stay for multiple years. Repairs, maintenance, again, about 10%. And if you're doing it in your personal name, again, I'd recommend the umbrella insurance on top of your regular insurance. So the $1,000 rent that you're getting on this property, your expense is about $975. So you're making $25 a month, or 1.34%. If you were to do it in an LLC, again, your mortgage payment is a little higher. You'd actually lose money each month. Now, when I say lose money, I'm talking about cash on cash. You're also paying down your mortgage, so you're also building equity every month as well. Equity is great, but going back to what I talked about earlier, try and make sure your rentals are self-sufficient, because you don't want to be losing money and paying for these rentals out of your pocket each month. So rentals are a terrible investment is what I basically just told you. Well, of course it's not, but you need to ask yourself questions. Do you want a job or do you want passive income? So if you want to do it yourself, it's all well and good doing it yourself, managing the property, maintaining the property, if you want 1 or 2. But what happens if you want 2, 5, 10, 20, 50, At some point, if you're planning on growing, you need to figure all these numbers into your calculations to make sure that they still make sense if you're not doing all the work yourself, because you're going to hit a point where you will not be able to do everything yourself. So another thing I saw the other day was, where can I buy them? At tax sales? Tax sales have great discounts. All the gurus will come into town and tell you you can buy a house for pennies on the dollar. Anyone who's been to the Lexington or Richland auction will tell you that you're looking at spending about 80% of the value of the property. So the $100,000 home, you may buy it for $80,000. You're also going to have to wait a year. Then you're also going to have to clean up title after you get the house. And when you get the house, you don't know what the house looks like on the inside. So in the end, you may be better off buying from the MLS. There are good deals out there, but there are a lot of competition for them. You could buy a rental with cash. And if you're buying it with cash, the deal will look a little bit better, but it's a slow strategy. If you're trying to spend $100,000 on a house, unless you're earning a few $1 million a year, you're not going to be buying many houses over the next year. So the next thing is utilize the wholesalers or market yourself to get the best deals. We have the Money Mastermind group. There's a lot of wholesalers posting deals out there. You're going to get those properties a lot better than the MLS. If you market it yourself and you find the deals yourself, you're going to get an even better deal because you're going to cut out the wholesale fee. But the question is, do you have time for that? But make sure you know your numbers. How much is it going to cost to purchase? What's the rehab going to be? How long before I can bear it, which is buy, rehab, rent, repeat, refinance, then repeat. What are your holding costs going to be, and what's your cash flow? So try and know all your numbers, try and follow the rules, aim for a house that will give you a 1% to 2% rule. For that, what I mean is a $100,000 house, the monthly rent should be between $1,000 and $2,000. If you go any less than those numbers, I guarantee in Columbia area, you're not going to have a positive cash flow. If you go more than that, and you go to a 3 or 4%, you're going to be buying a house in an area that's not so good. So you're going to have more repairs, you're going to have more turnover of tenants, and you're going to have a lot more evictions. So in order to avoid that, make sure you screen the tenants very well. So why are they a good investment? Hopefully, if you buy them right, you'll have a monthly cash flow. You're going to build longer term wealth because the tenants are building your equity in addition to the cash flow. Houses usually track inflation, so rental prices will increase. It's actually crazy how much they've gone up over the last couple of years. Property values should also change. Again, at the moment we're seeing property values spike and houses are not sitting on the market for long at all. It can go the other way, but again, it's going to track your inflation. It should protect you. You can buy them with leverage, so you don't need to buy them cash. They'll give you passive income. You get depreciation every year that you get, and write-offs on your taxes for all the repairs. So your taxes can be minimized by using rentals. It's a great diversification. You can house hack, so you can literally, before you get your first before you own your own home, it's a great way to get started. You can take advantage of the low down payments for owner occupancy, and then you can turn it into a rental after the fact. There's also other options, Airbnb, vacation rentals, and rent by the room, but I'm going to let Brianna talk about that. Also, if you look at the majority of self-made millionaires, the majority of it did it through holding property. And how can we help you? Well, we're buyers. So we buy rental houses, we buy occasional flips. We also offer transactional funding to assist wholesalers with double closings. And also we work with flippers that are actively buying properties that may need financing. So there's my email at the bottom, which is beyondinvestmentgroupllc@gmail.com. I'm sure Bob's going to share this as well. If anyone has any questions, I am on the Money Mastermind group. Feel free to reach out to me either by direct mail or by direct message or email me. I'll be glad to help you. Just make sure you know your numbers is basically the story of today. They are good, but rentals are very good, but just make sure you do it right. I've made mistakes and prefer other people didn't make the same ones I did. So I think I'm going to pass you on to Brianna and then take questions at the end. Is that correct?
Yeah, that might be best just to keep things moving. But
Yep.
Thank you, Andy. That was great.
No problem. Brianna, can you share your screen now? Or?
Yes. Hey, y'all. Hello, people. So my hair, I'm fixing up my
Hey,
hair.
Brianna.
Hey, Brianna.
So, let me see how to share my screen. It says this will stop. You have to stop. Oh, okay. Sorry, that's my dog barking. Coughing in the background, y'all. He's just a little bit older now. Can y'all see? Can y'all see me?
I can. Looks good.
Yes.
All right. Can y'all see my screen? Hello, beautiful peoples. Andy, that was amazing. That was amazing. You said you shared a lot of great content. So I learned a lot. I always love learning. But y'all, like I said, excuse my dog in the background. He just drank some water. He has a collapsed trachea. So he's getting a little older. Excuse him in the background. Hopefully he'll stop in a little bit. Junior. Okay, but so I'm going to be mostly talking about house hacking and renting out by the room. Just a little bit about myself. My name is Brianna Davey. I've been involved with real estate since 2013. I'm from Goose Creek, like Bob said. I'm from Goose Creek. I got involved with real estate from my mentor down in Charleston. So she got me involved. She made me read Rich Dad Poor Dad like everybody does. So if you haven't read that book, you should read that book because I read it after I got out of college. And I was like, why did I go to college? So that's how I pretty much got started. Of course, I worked at Sherwin-Williams for a few years and met some people that had properties there. And Sherwin-Williams allowed me to buy my first rental property. So yeah, I've been doing it since then. Now I do wholesaling full time and whatnot. And of course, I love the rental income. So I'm gonna keep on doing that and getting more properties. All right, so let me go to the next slide. Here's a little bit of what I'm gonna be talking about. Y'all can hear me, right? Bob, can y'all hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I can hear
Okay,
you.
Perfect.
okay,
Yeah.
I just want to make sure. Okay. All right. Here's a little bit of what I'm going to be talking about tonight. I'm not going to hold y'all too long. I know the football game's going on, and Andy did a great job. So I'm just going to hit a few topics tonight: house hacking, the resources to house hack, renting out by the room because that's what I love to do. Pros with rentals, cons with rentals, and how can I help, and questions at the end. So let's get right into it. I hope this helps y'all too. Okay, house hacking. My first property that I purchased, I house hacked pretty much. House hacking, pretty much for all that don't know, and you can YouTube it for more information. It's pretty much you're buying a property to live in and then renting out. Of course, if you're buying a multi-unit property, you can live in one side for free most of the time if you do your numbers correctly, and then your other tenants in the other units will pretty much pay for your mortgage and plus some if the numbers make sense. It does work, and it's less capital that you need to put down. Like Andy said before, I house hacked. So my first property I did FHA, so I was allowed to put 3.5% down rather than 20% down. So of course, like I said before, you have to do your numbers. It's a numbers game, and you have to do your numbers and research. And location makes a difference. It really does matter. So you want to try to make sure you're purchasing in a good location, or do your research and make sure this is a good area to actually rent out and that you can rent it out for a good price. So using your resources, like I said, my first property that I purchased, I used FHA. And I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my first property. I used FHA, I put 3.5% down. And when I first moved in, my mortgage was 535. And I never went, it's in Lexington County, but I never went to go get the reduction for the taxes to be lower, because I knew I was going to eventually rent it out. So I just went ahead and just, kept it like it was, 535. That's what I did personally. So I don't advise that anybody do that, because y'all can see the difference in the mortgage payments or the difference in the taxes that Andy showed y'all. But that was just for my first one that I did. But of course I did FHA. There's other programs that you could use. VA is like 0% down. There's a lot of first time homebuyers programs. NACA is really good as well. One of my sorority sisters used that, and her interest rate was like 2.25%, 2.25%. It was extremely low. And that was like 2 years ago. So that was good. And you want to leverage your capital, but not too leveraged, because you don't want the 2008, 2007 crash, 2007, 2008 crash to happen. And then you'd be over leveraged. But I like using these resources to help me buy the rental properties, because you could just leverage and not have to put so much down. This is pretty much how I did. And the main discussion of tonight is renting out by the room. For my first rental property, like I said, my mortgage payment was $535. So I was managing it to a single family. It was a husband, wife, and actually 3 kids. And I rent out for $800 a month. So I was only cash flowing, what is that? 535, I think 535 minus 530, 800, it's $268 a month. $268 a month. I thought it was pretty decent. This is my first rental property. I'm cash flowing. Yeah, woo. I'm managing it myself. So first of all, they started taking advantage of me because I was managing it myself, and they saw I was younger than them, way younger than them. So one tip I would let y'all know is to never, ever tell your tenants, if you're starting off managing your own property, never, ever let them know that you are the owner of the property. Yes, they can look it up on the tax records, but most of them don't. So I say I am the property manager. So every time, and I talk about this in my course, so every time they ask me a question, I'm like, okay, well, let me call the owner real quick. I got to get approval from the owner. The owner's me, okay? So it cash flow only $268 a month. And when they didn't pay, which they did miss a couple months, like Andy said, people do miss months. Then one guy, he lost his job. The husband lost his job. And, I was being nice. Oh, it's okay, And they ended up getting behind. And when they did not pay, I was stuck with the mortgage because I depended on one person. So they ended up leaving before their lease ended and try to just leave without paying last month's rent. And they did. I caught them with the refrigerator. I was able to get their address, but of course, you're never going to see that money from the missed rent. You're never going to see that money. You could try to sue them. If they don't have it, then they're probably not going to have it. So now you're going to waste your time. You're going to waste your energy. And I like my peace and I like my joy and I like my time. So I just said, okay, what can I do for this to not happen again? And I didn't even research it on YouTube or anything. I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna rent this out by the room. And it was a small house, small 4-bedroom, 1-bath house. It's like 1,100 square feet. So I rented out by the room. So my mortgage was $535. I'm now renting out $400 a month per room. So that's now $1,600 compared to $800. Now I'm cash flowing. Let me do the math for y'all. Now I'm cash flowing, y'all can't see this backwards, $1,065 a month, just off this one rental, just off of this one rental property. And I paid about, I think it was like 61,000 for it. So the cash flow is really good, and I still love that property. Now I do include the water in West Columbia. The water bill is like every other month. So I do include a water and electricity bill. It's in my name, but I make them pay it every month. I just divide it by 4 and I say, okay, y'all, this was the electricity bill. Y'all send me the money for the bill. So I like doing that. Now there are pros and cons with it, of course. When I first started off, one guy got into a fight with another tenant, had to kick him out because he really beat up the boy really bad. So you know, there are some things, but now that I had multiple tenants paying me rather than one. So if one doesn't pay, I can still pay my mortgage. If 2 don't pay, I can still pay my mortgage. So that's what I love to do. And I do it with my condo as well. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And what Andy said about HOAs are high. So that's why I did renting out by the room in that particular property. That one's $550 a month, and I'm cash flowing about, I think that one's just under $1,000 in positive cash flow. So that's what I love renting out by the room. If repairs happen and things like if the HVAC goes out, because it will. HVACs do go out. Repairs will happen, maintenance will happen. I don't want to have my cash flow to be tied up for a whole year for me to get those costs back. So I am still managing all these properties together. I will start getting a property manager because I don't want no longer a job, but it's pretty easy to manage right now because my tenants stay. They're all older men. They're not college students. They're all older men. Like one guy, his mom pays for his rent. Well, I think I have 2 tenants, one mom and one has 4 sisters. And these guys are like in their 40s, and their parents and their family members are paying for their rent because they don't want to have to do nothing with them. So it does work. I love renting out by the room. Let me go to the next one. Okay. I don't want to hold y'all too long tonight. And Andy did a really good job. So the pros of rental properties, like I said, I talk about passive impact. I know y'all think about passive income, but I follow this guy on Instagram and he said passive impact. And that touched me so much because we have to impact our community. It's just not that we're trying to be slumlords, just trying to make money. Let's make it win-win for people because people need a place to stay. So why not look out for them? They look out for us. Well, pretty much they probably won't look out for us, but you're actually impacting the community. And it's good that you are impacting the community. You're helping people that cannot afford possibly to maybe buy a home on their own because of their credit, you know? So if you think about that, you're impacting the actual community and it's not all about the money, then your mindset is different. You actually sleep better at night. You're like, oh my God, like they have a place to stay because I bought this property. So think about making a passive impact. You're making a passive impact, and yes, you're going to get passive income from making an impact in the community. It's long-term. Rental properties are long-term. It's not like wholesaling, which I love wholesaling, but rental properties are long-term, and I get this money every month. Yes, some tenants do not pay. I'm going to go to the next slide. And my favorite game is Monopoly. Let's play Monopoly. Let's keep on buying properties and play Monopoly. Let's get the 4 houses, and then eventually maybe the whole Midlands REIA group could buy a hotel together, you know? So let's continue to play Monopoly. That's what I'm trying to do, play Monopoly, and you know, and let's continue to do that. Of course, we're building wealth. It's a key to wealth. I definitely think it's definitely a major key to wealth of how a lot of people establish their wealth in this world is through real estate and stocks. I'm just starting to learn about stocks and stuff, but definitely real estate is definitely a key avenue to wealth, and of course, great cash flow. Okay, but as long as you're passive, don't forget about this passive income. Passive income, all this first, and then you get the great cash flow. Okay, y'all. So I hope this is helping y'all. Okay, and then we're talking about the cons. Okay, tenants not paying and trashing the place. I had my first eviction that I had to do over this COVID, and the eviction let up, so I was able to evict because the tenant would stop communicating with me. I was being nice. Like, me and Andy are almost like the same. That's why I need to get a property manager too. So I was being nice, and then we couldn't evict either. So when they stopped communicating with me and the eviction was let up that we could, start doing evictions again, I filed the eviction and they did trash the place. I put it on my Facebook page. You can follow me on Facebook, and it's actually on my actual what is it? It's right on my main page. You could just stroll. I think it was back in a couple of months ago, like 5 or 6 months ago, and they did trash the place. So of course I had to pay for that. So that's a con that you would have to do. Some tenants will not pay. You have to have reserves. Some tenants will trash your place. You have to have reserves. And paying for the repair costs twice to get fixed. What Andy was talking about with property management and having someone to call on. I have had before where I had people that I trust in, and okay, y'all pay to get the job done, pay them, and the job is either slack or the tenant or only lasts for a little bit, and I have to call somebody else back. So always try to find somebody that you can depend on and have about like maybe 2 or 3 people that you could call. 2 or 3 people that you could call and count on. So you won't have to keep on paying for the same thing. And it's good to have a backup if you're starting off with managing your own properties. Just something to think about. Of course, I just said repairs and maintenance. This is what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to, like Andy said, one of the main things is HVAC. The HVAC will get you. And it's good to even think about having like something like a home warranty and warranties on these big items, because the costs will add up really quickly. And sometimes the home warranties are not the best, but you could just look into that. I personally have, like the warranties on the actual, HVAC and things of that sort. But when the stove and stuff goes all out, I'm still liable for those things. But some tenants are good where they do it themselves, but most of the time they're going to be calling you for it. And like I said before, with renting out by the room, I did have to kick a tenant out for fighting. So you just want to make sure one of my tenants, well, 2 of them have been living there for, I don't know, like 2 or 3 years, and they always go back and forth. And they call me and I'm like, yo, so-and-so said, I don't have time. I'm not your mom. Okay. I'm your property manager. Y'all figure it out. One guy said, I'll move out. I'm like, okay, if you want to move out, you can move out, because I have plenty of other people that, excuse me, that want to move in. But what I'm not going to do, I'm not going to be your mom. Okay. I have my own life. I like my peace. So let me enjoy my peace. So if you want to move because y'all keep on fighting or fussing back and forth, then I don't have time for that. But what I do for my rentals, since I'm renting out by the room, I do have their own lock on their door, so they have their own key to go in, so their stuff is not open to everybody, and they can't say, oh, so and so went in my room. Well, you actually have your own key, so why didn't you lock your room? I'm not liable for nothing. They're liable for everything. So just that's how I love to do cash flow. So all right, so now you have the knowledge from me, Andy. Now you have to go take action. And this is what me and Kristen Johnson always talk about. You have to take action. I could spend time giving people knowledge and stuff, but if you don't take the action yourself, there's nothing I can do, okay? You actually have to take the action yourself. You can actually start researching, talking to a mortgage lender, seeing how to, how you could qualify for a loan to get a mortgage, house hack, and then rent out by the room, and actually look at the location that you're renting out by the room, because not all areas are not the best. So you want to make sure you're not way in the country trying to rent out by the room. I'm not familiar with all that, but you have to just do your research, but take action. The main thing is really take action. Don't just take this knowledge that me and Andy are giving y'all and not do anything. Actually take action. And me and Andy are going to continue to take action too, as well as Bob, you know, so we're all just trying to keep on playing Monopoly. But definitely you have the knowledge, so you have to take action. And it's about having applied knowledge. Knowledge, they always say knowledge is power, but it's actually applied knowledge that's power. And I forget the girl that said that, but when she said that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. Applied knowledge is power. So y'all have to take the action. There's but so much me and Andy could teach about and to talk about. And if y'all never take action, there's really nothing else we could do about it. So that's pretty much it. I hope this helped y'all. And if y'all have any questions about renting out the battle room, just let me know. Y'all can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, and YouTube. It's Bree_the investor. Bree_the investor. I'm not too big on Twitter, but I'm just starting to learn. Of course, I'm on Instagram and Facebook. My Facebook is Brianna Davy, and I have my YouTube channel that I just started. But yeah, and here goes my course. I'm not trying to upsell y'all or anything, but if y'all want to buy it, y'all could buy it. Of course, there's a lot of free content on YouTube, like Bob talks about. There's a lot of free stuff you could get. You could call Bob and talk to him all the time. He's just chilling anyway. but there's a lot of free content online. But if you want something like, if you want to hear from me personally, that's why I created this course, because people kept on calling me and wanted me to go eat with them. I don't have the time. And when I do have the time, I just want to relax. I just want to chill with my dog. He's now sleeping. Or just relax by myself, or, you know, I'm watching YouTube myself and things of that sort. So my course is only $50, and it's on my bio page on my Facebook. Brianna Davy, or you could go into my Instagram, which is Bree_the investor, or you can take a picture of this and go to the Gumroad. But it's only $50. If you want to take a picture of this, it's only $50. But if not, it's fine. But I hope y'all learned something from me, Andy. Andy went into a lot more detail, and that was really good. And like I said, I really think that your first step should be like Andy did. House hacking works. I had this one girl in this investment group. It's called a Wealth Squad. And she was saying that she wanted to buy a $300,000 house with no assets. Like, she doesn't have any assets whatsoever. She just wants to look good. And I'm like, you need to put your priorities in order. You know, just try to think about buying assets first over liabilities. I don't know if y'all know Earn Your Leisure, but think about buying assets first. So then you could actually, like Andy said, and I said, the rental could pay for my rent. It pays for my car. You know, it pays for my bills. So as I keep on getting more, I understand what wealth is. And so I hope that helps y'all. So now I guess we could go into questions. Prangutas, thank y'all. Gracias. Questions, Prangutas.
Brianna, before we go into questions, I was scanning the chat thing, and there are some questions. I'm going to try to hit them from the top, but I do want to say back in 2006, when I was on a course buying spree, I bought from one of the national gurus up in New York, something very similar to what you have. I paid $797 for it. And anyway, so when I bought your course, I compared the two, and yours is actually better because it applies to our area. So,
thank you, Bob.
I appreciate you putting that out. That's a great course. Now, if it's okay, I'm going to put your pay link underneath. I mean, if anyone else wants to buy it, I'll put the pay link along with the recording link to this meeting.
Yes. But, okay. That sounds good. Yeah. And I'll, that sounds good. I could post it in the group too, if people want to see. I know you already posted it before, but if some of y'all didn't see it, then y'all definitely can have access to that course. And if you have any questions about my course, just contact me, and you could DM me. You probably can't call me because I'm a wholesaler too, so I'm trying to get deals and whatnot, and like having my life. So
well, if it's okay, let me go down the chat thing. Is that okay, Andy?
Yes.
Brianna?
Yes,
okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, one of the things is Blair Blair actually made a good point. If you're house hacking in, say, a duplex, you live in one side and you rent out the other, Richland County and probably Lexington County as well is going to tax you at the owner occupied rate in the unit you live in, but the other units can be taxed at the non-owner occupied rate. So that's a good point, Blair. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Blair.
Now, Blair's also asking, how does it work with tenants and the common spaces in the bathrooms?
Well, like I said, for that 4-bedroom, 1-bath, most of them, since they're older, none of them really hang out in the living room and in the condo. They're always in the room. The kitchen is common. They have their stuff. I guess they have their certain what is it called? Cabinets that they use. They have their certain side of the refrigerator that they use. The bathroom, I never had a complaint because that one only has 1 bathroom. I never had a complaint like saying, oh, someone is in the bathroom for a long time. I think there are 2 of them work night shift and like 2 of them work day shift, but I never had a complaint about for as long as I had that one since 2013. The bathroom issue has never been a complaint at that place. So I mean, they just the first guy that lived in there when I first started doing it, there was one guy that was really like he was really neat. So he made the house more, more welcoming and had his he had his decorations and stuff. So I guess they probably ate together and stuff like that. But now the guys are like older. They have their own lives. The first time was like 2 younger guys where they weren't in college. But I pretty much, every time I go there, they're like in the room. I had never seen any of them in the living room. So,
Okay.
But
okay,
yeah.
now, there's one here. I think Kristen posted, she's asking kind of half, facetiously. She's asking if she can get you to manage the property for her in case she wants to invest in room by room. I tell you,
Kristen Johnson.
Yeah, you do need a real estate license to technically manage properties.
Yes, I know,
so,
right?
Unless Brianna reactivates her license, probably not.
Right.
So,
no, I'm not trying to manage. I don't even want to manage any more of mine. So when I get more, get a property manager, like Andy said. I mean, now that the tenants have been there for a while and I know them, it's easy to manage them because they're like, I know them now. And I don't really get complaints or anything from them. I do my inspections. But it's easy to manage since they've been there for a while. It's not a whole high turnover rate, which sometimes it will be, turnover rate, and it might take a while to find a tenant. But.
And Shocklin is asking, do you have the place cleaned professionally since you're renting by the room?
Yes. The condo, they pretty much clean up well at the condo, but my other one, they don't know what cleaning is. They really don't. And I'm like, I don't understand. Y'all are grown men. Like, how can y'all live like this? So yes, I do hire professional cleaning because, honey boo boo, I am not cleaning up nothing.
Oh, there's a name I hadn't heard in a while.
No, I'm not cleaning behind no grown man. I'm no. So yes, I do hire a professional cleaner to do cleaning every now and then. Yes.
Okay, Tim Bradford, I think this was a joke though. Could you consider hiring the fighter tenant to collect your rent? Tim, I hope that was a joke. Okay.
I know, right? I should have thought about that. That's so funny.
It was a joke, everybody.
Yeah, okay, just making sure, Tim. Okay.
But being from the big city, that's how my mind works. So.
Okay.
Yes, that's a good point. Y'all got a problem now. Y'all know. Y'all better pay your rent.
Now, exactly.
Y'all know what's going to happen.
Before we log off, everyone, you might want to save the chat to your computer. Blair is actually bringing up another good point to double check what the home warranty covers. A lot of them do not cover the HVAC unless you get a premium program.
Yes.
So by all means, be sure to save the chat to your computers as well.
That's a good point, Blair.
Okay, Carlos is asking, I might have missed it if you already mentioned, but do you make them sign a lease?
Yes. And I go that into more depth in my actual course, but yes, they have 4 individual leases or 3 individual leases or however. Yes. So they have their own leases they don't sign one together. But yes, they have their own leases. I do the background check myself. I do the credit check myself, payment stubs, references, all that myself. So when I do have to find somebody else, like Andy said, it is kind of time consuming, but when it's not like a big turnover, then, you know, it's easy to manage. If I do 1 or 2 rooms at a time, it's easy to manage. And people do, like, when people say they're going to come and see the property, like Andy said, sometimes they'll be standing you up. And thank God I don't have a 9 to 5, you know? So, but I do try to get them all there at once, because I can't put a lockbox on there because other people are still living there. So you do have to physically be there, like, or hire someone else, hire a property manager to actually physically be there. Because usually when a house, a single family home, is vacant, then most of them could put a lockbox on it. They have these different type of lockboxes that you could use that, you know, you put your credit card in or whatever now. So it's easier. But when you're doing it by the room, you actually have to be there, because you can't just have some random person walking in when your tenants are there. Like, so, but
Brianna,
yeah.
could you flip back your slide thing to the pay link to your course again? Okay.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. If anyone's interested, that is. Now, Jay's making the comment that for $850 a year, I guess the home warranty will cover the HVAC and everything but the electronics. Okay, that's good to know for cost estimates. Let's see.
Yes,
Jay's
look at
gotta
those
leave.
fine prints. Look into those fine prints of everything, y'all. Because these companies, the main thing they want to do is not pay.
Okay.
Yep, I agree with that. And there's
Right,
a lot of
ain't that right,
people that
Andy?
will, you also get a lot of people that you pay $85 because the garbage disposal's broken, and usually you find there's a penny in there or a spoon.
Yeah.
I've been charged $85 a lot because someone dropped a penny in the garbage disposal.
I
That's
took
a
my
very
garbage
expensive penny.
disposals out.
That's why.
For that simple reason. I took them out because it's a hassle. The tenants don't take care of that stuff.
Okay.
I put it in the better quality rentals, but not.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go, Andy.
Okay,
Yeah.
Hajar, and by the way, Hajar, thank you. I got your membership dues, but Hajar is asking, where's the best place to go for financing?
Well, my first property, I actually went through a company in Ohio. And then there's a local company, gosh, what's the local company? Oh my gosh. Mortgage Network.
Okay, thank you. That's a new one.
Mortgage Network. But I recommend, now that I bank with First Community, go to a local bank. Ask Andy, our credit union. So I think credit unions, our local bank, is probably better than like the Wells Fargo's, Bank of America's.
Build a relationship with a local bank where you'll actually get to know the lenders. If you go to a Bank of America, they do not care about you, but a First Community or a smaller credit union, you'll usually see the same people. The same people that did my loans 15 years ago are still at the same credit union. So they know me when I walk in the door. It's good. They've already got my financials on record, and I can literally call up and they'll pre-approve me over the phone. So build relationships with smaller local banks.
Thank you, Andy. Dawn, is that?
Think about, I know we didn't go into this. I forgot to go into this. Think about, like Bob always talks about, creative financing. The duplex that I have, I did it with a rent to own. So think about, subject to owner financing, creative financing ways to actually get these rental properties as well. I forgot to go in depth. I didn't want to go in too much in depth because I only did a rent to own, but Bob talks a lot about subject to, so you won't even have to use a bank if the owner is open to that.
Okay, well, okay, Dawn's asking for house hacking. Do you furnish the place?
Yes, yeah. Far as like the living room has the couch, and then a table. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay,
a couch, like the kitchen table. But far as the bedrooms, no. their actual own bedrooms, that's a good question. Their actual own bedrooms are not furnished, so they bring their own beds and things of that sort. So it's not like an Airbnb. I only furnish the living room and the kitchen, and
So
they
they
furnish their own bedrooms.
So they bring their own bed bugs. So,
Right. Wow.
okay. Shocklin is asking, any recommendations for a cleaning service?
The company that I use, she's actually an individual. Her name is Personal Cleaner in my phone, Personal Cleaner. But I could, if you want to, her name is Personal Cleaner in my phone. But I could send you her information if you want me to. You could just DM me on my Facebook and I'll send it to you. Yes.
Okay, and Tracy's asking, what's the general thought or forecast going forward as far as more deals coming to the market? I've seen data that suggests South Carolina mortgage late payments was high compared to other states.
What you think, Andy?
I think that we're going to see a lot more volume in 2021. I think the end of 2020 was slowed down, and I've got a feeling we're going to be flooded in the next few months.
Now, do you think you flooded with foreclosures?
Yep. I think wholesale volume is going to go up significantly.
I tell you, Andy, my brother-in-law owns a mortgage company down in Florida, in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And he predicts the same thing as you, because it was so easy for people during the pandemic to get forbearances on their mortgage payments. I mean, you didn't have to justify. You just click a couple buttons. The big banks did it, Chase, Wells Fargo. So he sees that being the next bubble, like you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is, you're going to have to either go and add the payments onto the end. But I think part of the forbearance was you agree to pay it all in full after the forbearance period. Well, the longer it goes on, they're going to have to restructure all of these loans. So to me, it's getting scary. And it goes back to my initial, one of my first slides, where it's like people that owe $6,000, $7,000 in rent. Landlords are going to get out of the business. There's going to be a lot of people that take a big hit. And my big thing is just the rentals have to pay for themselves. You don't want to be paying for your rentals as well as your own personal living. And yeah, things like.
So Andy, I'm not sure if when I evicted the couple back in August, September, the eviction had let up, so allowed people to evict. Are people still allowed to evict right now in Richland and Lexington County, or have they put a hold on that for evictions? Does anybody know?
Touch wood. I have been very fortunate and hadn't had to evict anyone, so I wouldn't know.
Oh, okay.
The Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of South Carolina just issued a notice saying that there will be, right now it's unlimited. There's no in-person court sessions, which means eviction court's kaput right now. Mm-hmm. How long? He didn't put a deadline on it. So if you have to evict now, you're out of luck. Yeah. Hint, hint, motivated sellers, landlords who have evictions in process, me being one of them. Mm-hmm. Okay, now Earl McDuffie's asking, can you do one more question, Brown and Andy?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, Earl McDuffie's asking, on room to room, does your contract cover daily cleanup of the common areas such as garbage disposal, cleaning, bathrooms, etc.?
I do put in the agreement. Of course, they're supposed to clean, and when I do an inspection, I come every 3 months to do an inspection. To let them know, like, okay, your actual room has to be clean. Because one guy, he worked at Papa John's, and he had pizza after pizza boxes after pizza boxes after pizza boxes. I went in, I said, what in the world? I said, when I come back tomorrow, this thing better be clean. Like, I feel like I'm their mom sometimes. Maybe that's why they call me. But maybe that's why they call me when they fuss it. But yes, and more so it's their rooms rather than the common areas. I never really see the common areas really nasty. Like sometimes the dishes, and I get on them about the dishes. Okay, y'all have to when y'all wash the dishes, actually put them up in the cabinets. Like, or sometimes, you know, they just you have to clean up after yourself when you're living with someone. Like if you went to college and you have roommates, it's almost like that. You know, there's always one or two roommates that never likes to clean. So some of these guys are nasty. But yeah, I do, you know, put in at least that they should be cleaning. If they don't, they could get fined for it.
Okay, thank you.
So Brianna, I need to just step in and just give the guys some sort of defense because you're talking about how nasty the guys are. The one thing you didn't complain about is there's no issues with the bathroom. So if you rented to 4 women, I guarantee they'd be complaining that none of them could get in the bathroom.
You're right. That's a good point. That's a good point because I did like when I'm renting them out, sometimes I do have a few girls that call me, but if I have 2 guys in there, I don't know if this is against the laws or not, but I try to make them sure that it's all guys or all girls because I don't want any liability issue. But that's a good point, Andy.
Yeah, if it's all girls, they all need their own separate bathroom.
Yeah, that's a
big water heater.
Yes.
Can y'all do one more question from
Yes,
Mark?
go ahead. Keep on coming.
Okay. Any recommendation on home warranty companies which cover HVAC and appliances?
Andy, probably Home Warranty of America. Home Warranty of America, HWA.
Okay.
Home
Okay, well.
of America.
Okay. Terrell saying 2-10. I assume that's a football score. Okay.
Oh, who's winning?
No, it's 14-7.
Who's winning?
Okay. Well, I don't know what the 2-10 is then, but well, okay, everyone, I appreciate you. We're in a couple minutes. Oh, 2-10 home warranty company. Yeah. Okay. That's how much I know about football. Thank you, Terrell. Okay. Well, looks like we're past a little bit. I hope everyone doesn't mind. Andy, Brianna, thank you very much. This was a very informational meeting. I learned quite a bit myself. So thank you very much. Everyone, next second Monday is our next meeting, and please keep an eye on your calendar of events. Andy, you're a handsome looking man. I see a full screen of you right now.
Thank you.
I see you, Brianna. Very pretty
y'all.
lady. Okay.
Oh, Stacy, I see Stacy. Is Stacy working out?
There you go.
Stacy Davis. Hey, Stacy.
Okay, everyone,
I see you.
everyone, y'all have a great evening. And as usual, we're all in the Facebook, you know, the Money Mastermind group and everything. Okay. So thank you, Shockland. Appreciate it. Everyone, y'all have a great evening now. Recording will be up with Brianna's pay link later. Okay.
All right. Y'all have a good one. Thank y'all.
See you, folks.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye.